Welcome back to Becoming Next on Scene, everybody. It is your host, Jackie Zook. It is another awesome day for another awesome episode of how to become next on scene in your field of business or in your passion. Before I bring on my amazing guests today, I always like to start with a marketing tip to get your week started and a self-care tip to keep your week going. So my marketing tip of the day is going to be all about planning out. I feel like we in our businesses get so overwhelmed. There's so many things to do, and it just becomes overwhelming and stressful. Even if you have the help, right? Whether you're starting out or you're growing your business, you just continue to get busier, like life happens. So my advice is plan out your emails, plan out your content, and you will be so relieved. I'm just feeling the overwhelm right now. And I just know that like planning like 2 weeks out makes such a difference. So definitely do that. That is my marketing tip of the day. My self-care tip of the day. I personally have just been lacking in sleep. I kind of wake up every couple of hours. It's like a new development that kind of happened recently. And I think it's because of stress and overwhelm and just a lot of things happening. And, it's really important to do things to distress you, and finding natural products and things that ease the stress. So whether that's, more natural products, which I'm going to talk about more today with my amazing guests, or, CBD is pretty natural too. That's a great option. They have tons of different things. Find your vice that works for you. Yeah, so that is my self-care tip of the day. I am going to start working on that myself as I'm going to be trying these products that we're going to talk about today. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm here with two amazing ladies that you all need to know in your life, Merri-jo Hillaker and Armine Gambaryan. Hi, ladies. How are you today?
Awesome.
So excited to have you. I usually do introductions everybody will hear before the show airs. So I kind of want to break down and talk about how you both fell into the world of giving back and Mannatech and all the things around seasonal allergies. So Merri-jo, let's start with you because you have this whole background and it started in Mannatech as many of your other avenues. But tell us, with the seasonal allergies, like how has that affected you, people you're surrounded by, all those things?
Well, absolutely. My number one person that's impacted by that was my husband. When I married him, he was like on 4 different prescription drugs for allergies. And it was overwhelming because I've never been on a drug, right? So I'm looking at this guy he has the heart medication, cholesterol medication, and then all these drugs just for allergies. And I'm like, oh my God, it was overwhelming. So I started him because I had gotten associated with this incredible company, Mannatech, and I've had phenomenal results with my parents and other people, loved ones in my life. So no one I love more than my own husband, right? So I said, okay, honey, how would you try this? Well, rah, rah, rah. Sometimes guys aren't as open to nutritional supplements. They're kind of like, oh, I'm going to listen to my doctor. Rah, rah, rah. So I got a little barking, but as soon as I petted the dog, he was okay. And he said, okay, I'll try it. Right. So I started him on this incredible product that the company had that helped rid the body of those allergies, stop the allergic responses of the human body. Right. So he started taking it. And within a month, he said, all he did was drain for like 4 to 6 weeks straight. And he goes, I don't know, but this is really causing. And I said, honey, that's draining your sinus cavities. You're getting rid of all that stuff. And he has never been on a prescription drug for allergies since that time.
Amazing. So tell us too, like, how did you discover Mannatech?
How
And what is Mannatech for people who don't know what it is?
Perfect. Well, I discovered here, my background wasn't anything like nutrition. I mean, I was a lawyer. I was doing so many crazy things. I had my own businesses. I wasn't really in the health arena. I was just raised healthy. So I tended to eat healthy all the time. But we have a condition in our family that's now in like 3rd generation that we've tracked. And my father started showing signs of that in the early 1990s. And I was like going, oh, no. I was not going to allow my father to go down that path. And he could no longer golf. He had retired in Sun City West. And I was like, that was his favorite place in the world. Right. And I was like, okay, we're going to solve this. So here I knew nothing about nutrition, really. I mean, I knew I love fresh fruits and vegetables and I always bought organic, but I didn't study nutrition. And so I started researching and I came across this concept called glyconutrients. And it was like, what, sugar, the first time we hear sugar, what do we do? Ugh. right? I mean, as nutrition people, but they're good sugars in this world. And so I started researching more and more. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff helps our cells talk to each other, communicate. And being a Christian myself, I go, you know what? God didn't make a mistake when he created the human body. Our body's built to be its own best healer. But if the cells don't talk to each other, how does that happen? Mm-hmm. So I thought, wow, well, my dad's brain cells aren't talking to each other. That's really clear because he's not talking at all. Right. So I just went to the company. This is how bad it was, Merri-jo, because my background in high degree level of degrees, I was going to pursue every bit. So I made an appointment, went to the company, interviewed the doctors, talked to the CEO, and I said, okay, I'm set. So I started shipping this product out to Arizona. And my mom agreed to give it to him and gave it to him. So about 4 months later, I go out to visit, and my dad still didn't say one word to me the whole time he was there. But he used to have tremors in his hands that all the food would fall off of his fork as he was eating all over the floor. The tremors were gone. So I was like, well, if you don't want to take it any longer, if this is all it's going to do. And my mother said, we're not stopping. It was really cute. Of course, I was paying for it. So, and so the beauty of it, though, is that like 4 months later, I went back to visit him again, Sun City West. And my dad met me at the front door and said, hi, Merri-jo. I hadn't heard him speak in 4 years. So I was like, oh, not only was I ecstatic and tears rolling down my face, he actually got back on the golf course. He outlived my mother. I mean, it was just this miracle story, right? But at that time, I was just so excited. I was like, my first thing that came to me was, oh my gosh, how can I help the world with this? So I went back to the company, found out it was actually a network marketing company. I'd never done any of that. No one ever approached Merri-jo. And so I had to learn, all I wanted to do is help the world have a healthier life. Right. And so I jumped in both feet because I fell in love with the product, and the rest is history. I have a tremendous income stream today from it. And I just keep having a heart and passion to share it with everybody because it makes such a difference in so many people's lives.
Amazing. So inspiring, like truly. And then that obviously leads to how you met Armine. And now Armine is now working with you, which is so cool. So Armine, tell us a little bit about you and how you fell into the world of working with Merri-jo.
Oh my God, like where do I start? But my background, I have suffered with allergies pretty much my entire life. It started, I would say, freshman year of high school. So imagine, like at first, everyone was looking at me. They're like, are you sick again? I was like, guys, I'm not sick. It's allergies. Like, and I don't know. I feel like, with our food we eat in today's world, allergies are a lot more common than it was back then. But similar to Merri-jo, like I grew up with my parents, like in a very healthy environment household. Like my mom would make us eat everything, on the food pyramid. It was like, we also had junk food too, but it was like everything in moderation. But mostly it was like, we were more prone to eating fruits and vegetables. And, I think that helped a lot. But it was just frustrating, like every morning getting up, congested, headache, migraine. And I'm like in freshman year of high school. So it's like, where do I stop? So of course, first thing you do when you go to the doctor, they give you medication and they're like, here's what you need to do. And at a certain point, because I love to take the natural approach on health, everything, right? I'm always like, listen, I love Western medicine when you need it, but if you could let it go and find a natural way for it, why not? So fast forward, we're at a conference in Philly with Merri-jo. It's for Society for Orphan Armenian Relief, and I'm on the board. So she gives this presentation, and in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, I have no idea how old she is at this point. And I was like, wow, what is she on? Because my energy levels are half of what her energy levels are. And I was like, I need to do what she's doing. Because I seriously was like, it's like, life happens, right? Every day you're up, you're like working and doing everything. And all of a sudden I noticed like two things that were like going on as I also like moved from New York to Colorado. Like my autoimmune condition that I had was more aggravated here. My allergies were more aggravated, and I couldn't tell whether it was Colorado being more dry, change of pace, change of environment. But I was like, okay, it's been a year and a half, and I was on this vicious cycle of like taking antibiotics, curing quote unquote my autoimmune issue, and then a month later it would come back again. So it was like I needed to put a stop to that cycle. So when I heard Merri-jo's presentation and like she told me about Mannatech, I like approached her immediately. I was like, so two things. How are your energy levels so high? And B, here are my issues. Can you help me? She gave me her business card and like we did a Zoom call. And since then I've been on the products. It's been a little over like 5.5 months now. And I'm happy to say like no prescription drugs since then. Like absolutely not. And you know, now it's like part of my morning things. I have my probiotic, I have my Manna-C, I have my Ambertros Life, I have my little OSP packet, and it's just all the vitamins that I just also like. I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting close to Merri-jo's energy levels now. So that's how I track it. So every time we have a Zoom call, I'm like, do I meet her energy levels? And if the answer is like not as quite, then I'm not done taking like my vitamins yet. So it's been an awesome journey, and like just finding out the other gig opportunity that Mannatech also presents as well. That's, I think, incredible and important as well. And I think, we all want to go natural, and it's just nice to finally have a product that can guarantee you natural products. And I'm not putting anything foreign in my body. Things work. I noticed, like, just personally, I was like, I'm 35 years old. I can't possibly be the only 35-year-old out there with these conditions. How do I spread the word? Because other people need to get on this as well.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the pollen's just gotten so much worse the past couple of years. I don't know if you guys can, in Boston, it is terrible. It is so bad. So like, it's so awesome to see that. I was also thinking too, like, I love both of your opinions on this, but we could have Merri-jo start. So in terms of starting younger on these products versus starting older where your dad was, like, what is your theory on that?
Oh, start as young as you can.
For sure.
Right? Because why do you ever want to hit the wall?
Right.
That's the question. You look around you and you look at kids today. I mean, all these kids, I look at all these children on ADHD medications and antidepressants. And oh my gosh, it disgusts me. It's just like, it makes me squirm because we have so many natural ingredients that can support the body to be as healthy as it can. And it's only, I look at the drug therapy as if you can't solve it 100% naturally, then you resort as last resort to go into the drug world, because most of those kids will never get off the drugs. They'll be on them. This is what it says, right? The rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
They all have side effects. And why don't I want to be 100% natural? When people look at, like you said about energy, I don't have any drugs in my system. So that's what keeps me so full of energy. People go, well, I said, if you take all the drugs out and you eat, as natural foods as you possibly can, and you don't drink all that diet soda and all the stuff that people, every time I kind of cringe a little bit when I see what people put in their bodies. I said, could you start respecting yourself? Right. I mean, it's just kind of like, take it on. And especially as a young person, because if you take it on young, you know what? At my stage of life, you're going to be just like Merri-jo, right? I mean, it's the body is like a breathing plant. Mm-hmm. You don't want to kill it. You want to nurture it. So every time you put something in your mouth, am I nurturing my body or not? Now, trust me, that doesn't mean that I eat everything perfect. I like my chocolate.
We're human at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Chocolate mints once in a while. I have my favorites, peanut butter cups, but they're not in the house. I might buy them but I'm not going to buy a huge bag of them and finish it in one sitting. So the idea is, it's not that you're ever going to be perfect, but if you start really honoring, respecting your body, it will respect you back tenfold. So that's how I go at it. I think the earliest, the better. I started my kids off early and they are totally drug-free. They're now in their 40s. Hello. Right. And they're starting their children off healthy. And I look at them and they're even going crazier than I did. I mean, they're examining every food. They will buy it, and they go to special food markets and I'm like, but I don't grumble about it. I'm ecstatic, but I could say, Merri-jo, they're making you look bad, because you're still shopping at Kroger's, right? Whatever. So, but it's just a joy to see that kind of commitment.
Amazing. Armine, would you say like you're craving less junk, like other things? Like, does that have an effect with anything that you're taking?
Yes and no. I feel like, I don't know, like to what Merri-jo had said, we're all human. Yes, the other day I was craving hot chips. I'm not going to deprive my body from hot chips, but am I also eating hot chips every single day? Absolutely not. It's like once a quarter, maybe once every 5-6 months, I'll have the cravings. But what I did notice is, like, the flavors are delicious. So I take Albatross Slim Sticks, and the summer flavor has been delicious. It's the hibiscus ginger flavor, and they also have one that's like a citrus flavor. So the citrus is delicious until I tried the hibiscus, and I'm like, ooh, this is, so it's almost like drinking your dessert. So yes, I feel like to a certain extent, like when I take the hibiscus ginger Slim Stick of Albatross, like I don't necessarily want to crave anything or eat anything other than that. So, or it like kind of, I've also realized, because like I'm very much of a seasonal eater too. So, you know, I'll eat that, it's refreshing, and I'm like, ooh, what else do I have in my fridge? So I'll go grab like a peach or an apple or something, and I'm like, okay. So it kind of like satisfies my cravings in that sense.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I just like, because you hear sometimes when you fill your body with the right nutrients, your cravings change. So I was curious on like how that worked, but I love sweets. So I'm just like, I'm totally guilty of that. So I'm glad that it doesn't totally go away for sure. I
No,
love
and you know what? Chocolate is healthy, so doesn't it come from a plant?
Well, you know, and I love chocolate, but if I eat chocolate these days, it's always the darkest chocolate, right? It's not like I'm not going to go and buy peanut butter cups or something and eat a whole bag of those, right? You know, it's kind of like, where do I get healthy chocolate? Because there is a healthy sense of chocolate. Chocolate comes from a plant. It's plant-based, cocoa, right?
Oh.
So cacao, and so it's so you know, look at it within reason. I mean, you don't have to,
Right.
yeah.
I love it. I want to talk now more about mentorship because I love the dynamic you guys have created. And I know you do so much of that, Merri-jo. And now, honestly, Armine, like you're going to start doing that because you're just sharing so much great insight. So tell us, Merri-jo, we'll start with you. Like how do you mentor people? And obviously with Mannatech, it was probably a great platform to kind of start doing that by educating, right?
Yeah. And really, I really probably delved into this much because my husband had 2 children, so I started raising 2 stepchildren, and they were older. And when they went off to college, and mentoring them on college decisions, one dropped out of college, so my husband was throwing a fit, and I was going, "Hey, college isn't for everybody." You know, I love to take wherever you're at. If you made that decision, great. I'll celebrate a good decision with you. But what's next? Right. So then I sent them on their way. What's next? And I'll just share that stepdaughter actually came back and wanted to be a doula. I didn't even know what a doula was. Right. I'm looking at her like, what the heck's a doula? It sounded like a hula hoop or something. I didn't know. Anyway, so I was very naive. So then she wanted to become a midwife, and then she wanted to have her own midwifery practice with her friend of hers, a midwife. Today, they're multi-millionaires. They're #1 in midwifery in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Frisco, Texas.
Amazing.
So, but it's just the encouragement of allowing people to feel themselves out and find that path. No pressure. And, you know, the majority of the people, I really want to say, the majority of the people really don't need college. I mean, I'm not dissing college. Of course, I have more degrees than a thermometer, so that would be a good thing for me. But the idea is, you know, find a path where you really feel that there's a passion that you have. And it could be that you need college for that passion, but find that passion first before you just jump into college. You know, oh, I've gone to college, Japan, and I'm going, oh, good. You know, and here's another graduate with 50,000 of debt in 3 years and not knowing.
Who was your mentor, Merri-jo?
Who was mine? I didn't really have one.
Huh.
I really didn't have one. I mean, my mom and dad were really driven people. So they like drove all of us 4 kids to rah, 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 rah. Don't date, don't do this, don't, you know, I was like, and that was hard for them to tell me not to be social. My brothers and sisters were kind of those eggheads, right? Really smart. But I married, and not we were all smart, but I was very social. So I loved going to college, and then I went off to law school, and I just I went through a lot of like great jobs and turmoil in my life because I didn't know if I was on the right path, and I had confusion in my 20s and in my early 30s. And then I came across a great group of courses that were self-development courses. And when I went through that, it gave me the foundation. I'll tell you, the most important foundation besides my faith was discovering for me, what are my core values? You see, Jacqueline, you and Armine, we all have our own personal core values. It's not determined by scripture or by how it's you. Each of us are driven by something that's unique to us, and discovering that, and now putting those first and foremost in your life, you will truly have the greatest joy. you'll find your greatest sense of happiness because you're fulfilling your core values, not what somebody else told you, not what your church told you, not what I mean, 101 people will try to tell you what you should be, what you should do, how you should. No, you answer your calling in your life. And when I discovered that, you probably can figure out my number one. It's called contribution, So I set up a charitable foundation. I do charity work. I go on mission trips. I travel all over. I love to pour back into people around health. And I love mentorship. I love to mentor people in their 20s and 30s to help them feel like they're not trapped. Because isn't that what you guys feel? I mean, you get kind of trapped. You get on a track and you're going, is this really my voice? Is this really my answer for my life? So it's like, how do I help somebody do that? That's my greatest joy, is how I can contribute to people's life and help them find their core values and then fulfill their life for them, not what somebody else made up for you.
For sure. I think Armine and I can relate on a lot because I'm in my 30s too. And I think we're constantly rediscovering ourselves, right? Like a new thing happens, like Armine, please chime in, because I would love your thoughts too on like finding Merri-jo as your mentor and like what your thoughts are on even mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yes, I agree, because, it's like you're doing so much, right? As you're growing up, like you're listening to your friends. You're like, oh, but this friend is not going to become a doctor. Maybe I need to do that. But you don't realize that's not what you want to do. And then you meet another group of people, like they're doing, I don't know, law or something like that. And then you realize, no, that's not what I want either. Like with me, my background is business management and I do accounting. And, that's pretty much black and white. And so I've always been one that I'm always like, I know there's more to me. It's always like that voice in the back of my head. Like I knew, and I still know to this day, like it's fine. I enjoy what I do. I love the people that I work with. It's, things on that front are amazing. Most of my friends I've actually met through the companies I've worked with, and that's incredible. But like in the back of my mind, within me as well, I knew that I had this other power inside of me. I just didn't know how to unleash it. And I think, in today's world, we're a little afraid of aging. And I think we are terrified of, like, you look at it on our media, you look at it on our magazines, which is why I love Elon Musk's mom, May Musk. She's a 70-year-old amazing cover girl running the world. And she's trying to break that norm. So then I meet Merri-jo, and it's one of those things of like, I didn't know what I was going to get out of meeting her. I thought, oh, she's just going to introduce me to products. But like little by little, and it's been like over 6 months now, her and I have known each other. It's always been like this dynamic duo in a sense. Like, so she's obviously, can I say your age? Did you already say it, Merri-jo?
My age? I'm proud of my age. Yeah. I turned 68 in October.
So it's like, how many people do you meet who are like above their 60s and are embracing life to their fullest? And I think like that's what I love about her message. So she started, like, her and I started talking. I told her about my goals. I love that I'm now part of like the M5M Foundation. I'm part of SOAR as well. And it's like giving back. You feel this pride and joy inside of you when you're doing that. And it's almost like I'm also helping something that's so much bigger. And now you're getting the community involved. And so naturally, you're now speaking to other people, raising awareness and sharing these stories. But like, I would agree, like, I think we live in a culture that's so afraid to getting older, getting like, every decade you hit, it's like, oh my God. But when you flip the sides and just kind of look at like Merri-jo, she's 67 going on 68. Nowhere inside is she stopping anywhere now. Well, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is amazing. If I could do what she's doing and all I have is like another 30 years, well, how do I prepare myself now to do what she's doing in the next 30 years? So like, she's been helping me a lot tremendously, like finding out my own voice. I told her like, there are certain times where, people think I'm so nice with my bubbly personality, but I was like, I need to get trained on also being assertive. So like, we're working on that aspect a little bit as well. But nothing wrong being nice, but she told me what stood out, but she goes like, well, that's your greatness. Why are you like shying away from it? And I was like, well, I never thought about it that way. So it's just like, you are this amazing person, but like coming across someone who's your mentor, they just unleash those layers and you come forth with a better you every single time. So, it's like, I hope that everyone listening to this podcast could see how amazing she is and how uplifting she is. So imagine having that on a weekly basis with Merri-jo, I'm like, ooh. So I look forward to our Zoom calls every single time. And I'm just like, what am I going to uncover next?
And of course, I look forward to them every time, because what's my number one core value? Contribution. So you notice it's just an absolute bloody joy for me to be in that realm with Armine and so many other people, because it just fills my soul. I get off our calls and I go, yay, I can just be ecstatic. So it's just a joy. And by the way, we talk about what other people think about us. And it's not my book, but there's one book I recommend. I have a book list that I recommend people read. And this book is called What Other People Think of Me Is None of My Business. I have recommended to literally hundreds of people. Terry Cole Whitaker, it is choice. And it's perfect for the younger generation, because how many times do you worry about what other people think? Be you. If they don't like you, hey, okay. I'm not going to let somebody else's opinion of me change me, because I get to choose me.
Right.
They don't. And we get so much caught up in that public perception and friends and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, no, you choose you. What are your core values? Who are you as a person? What do you want to project in this world? And there are going to be people that don't like you. And it's A-okay. And that book is just really a great book.
No, I love it. I was going to touch upon too, like, because you grow and evolve, right? So when you were talking about how Armine was saying, like, becoming assertive, like, you're not that person anymore. Like, it's like new people need to come in. Like, you need to let them in order to kind of let those old ones go, right? I love that.
That's and I also think, like, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Like, I had no idea who Merri-jo was until she gave the presentation. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make an effort, because I loved her vibe. I loved her energy. I loved her attitude. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, if it's just a hi, how are you, goodbye, great. But if there's something more, but I also feel like, by the time it takes you to approach someone, you already have 15 things going on in the back of your mind. I shouldn't approach her. What is she going to think of me? Do I do it? And it's just go for it. And I think the other thing that Merri-jo has taught me too, it's like, sometimes I'll share my hurdles that I've come across, or an obstacle, or like a rejection too, because everyone hates rejection. And her famous words are always, okay, great, next. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it is true, next. Who cares? There's like a billion people in the world, so you're gonna let like 5 people affect your mood for the day. So that's always been like very uplifting too, because it's like, she doesn't not acknowledge the failures, because I think our generation, we're okay with failing, and it's okay. It's like learning from it. But like her, she puts a lighter twist on it. It's like, okay, thank you, next. And it's just like, oh, okay, it could be that easy. You just got to train your mind to start thinking that way.
That's what mentorship brings to the table, right? Because I would definitely have that mind drama myself, for sure. Like, it's just what we know. It's like embedded when, like, it's embedded. You don't know otherwise if you're not shown otherwise, right? Like,
yeah.
Yep.
And the other cool thing too is that when people attack you in some way, shape, or form, or give their opinion of you or whatever, what's the first response we do as human beings? We defend ourselves. We start going rah, 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 rah. And now you're getting all anxious, you're giving away all your emotions, you're getting all hyper, and your adrenaline's flowing and all this kind of stuff. If you came up to me today, Jacqueline, and say, Merri-jo, thank you for being on the program, but I really didn't like you very much. And I go, oh, so what was it about me? And I would be inquisitive. I'd play Sherlock Holmes, and you could tell me, and my response would be, well, Jacqueline, thank you for your feedback.
Merri-jo, has someone ever done that to you before?
What? Tell me something they don't like about me?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, have they said, like, I didn't really like how you were on, like, my show, or have somebody ever done that to you?
Well, not on a show necessarily, but you're going to come, probably the one thing I do get feedback from people from, maybe 6 months, I don't know when, but some people will say, well, you're so effervescent, you're kind of overwhelming to people. And I go, oh, thank you for your feedback. Yeah. But you know what? I want to be effervescent.
Right,
I want to impact lives. That's what my calling is to be. I'm not called to be a mouse, right? Yep. So that's about finding you and being okay in your own skin. Don't let other people rob you and try to reform you, because you're going to have a heck of a time, because everybody has a different opinion.
Right.
Oh, good luck. You're going to be playing the rest of your life people pleaser. Oh, how do I make her happy? Oh, over here I have to be like this. Oh, over here I have to be like, and it's like exhausting. Insanity.
It's exhausting.
Right?
Yeah.
Choose you. And that's the other aspect, Jacqueline. So many people go, well, Merri-jo, how do I know how I am? I've been taught. And I said, you choose it. What's your voice? Who are you as a person? What's the difference you want to make in this world? How do you want to show up? And now choose it and run with it. That's where you're going to have the greatest fulfillment and greatest joy. Don't let other people tell you how you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, because you're always going to get to some point in life, whether it's, I compare it to a football field. You might be on the 50-yard line. You might even be getting down towards the end zone. And you know what? You're going to look up and go, oh my gosh, I don't even think I'm me. I don't know who I am. I get a lot of people in coaching that look at me and
I'm sure.
I don't even know who I am, Merri-jo. And I go, whoa.
At all ages, right? All ages.
All ages. All ages, right? All ages. But
Well,
I first of all go, whoa, but my next step is like, well, let's go find out and let's decide. Because most people think there's something inside. I was meant to be this way. And I go, no, you choose. What's most important to you? Let's choose it. And then when you walk in life in that posture, you're going to be ultimately greatest. You're going to, experience your greatest fulfillment. So let's choose what's important to you. Let's go after that, right? We all have that inner sense in us. A lot of times it's covered up by what everybody else has told you for 25 years.
What were you going to say, Armine? Yeah, you were going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think people also don't stop to take a minute of who they are, because life changes so fast. With work, you have all these deadlines you got to meet, and you're on the go responding almost autonomous, if that's the right word. It's like you're just doing it because you're supposed to do it. And then, you move on, you get in a relationship, you decide to have a family, and all these things are happening. But sometimes it's so easy to just let go of who you are and just continue going on this path. You're like, well, and so it could go 10, 15 years down the line. And then you're like, well, who am I? And so meeting Merri-jo, I think that was the one thing that I appreciated about all of this, was because, I knew my business management career wasn't the only thing, and I could see she has different avenues. So then I was like, you know what? Yes. Why should anyone be stuck at just one thing? Why not just spread yourself and do other 5 things and see how that's going to change you or grow you? I think, but it is that fear of okay, well, I am going to change. I think that also comes along with it too, because it's not easy. You're almost working on yourself full time, and it's work, it's dedication, and it's the constant habit that you have to adapt every single time.
So what would you guys say too? We could start with you, Merri-jo. What is one of the top ingredients that the products have that you really, believe in, that you think is really making a difference?
Awesome. Well, my favorite product is called ambertose, and the most important ingredient in ambertose is the active saccharide and healing ingredient that's found in the aloe vera plant.
Huh.
Okay. And I actually have visited the aloe vera plants in Costa Rica. They plant these plants because they plant them along the volcanic in the volcanic soils along that range of volcanoes in Costa Rica. That's where they plant all the aloe vera, massive, acreage of it. And here's the intriguing thing about aloe, because you see so many products out there that contain aloe, right? Aloe is a very popular ingredient. The problem is that once you cut the leaf off an aloe plant, you have to process the inner ingredients within 6 to 8 hours, or it's dead. That's why your mother or grandmother, great-grandmother always had a fresh aloe plant on the back stoop. I mean, you've seen this for years and years and years, and you have a burn, they go out to the back stoop, cut off an aloe leaf and put a gel on the plant, right? Well, today we go in a grocery store and they have, here's 1,000 aloe, and 99% of them are dead. It contains aloe, but it's not going to have any impact on you because it's dead, right? And this company ensures the active healing ingredient. They've learned to stabilize it so that when you take this product, you're getting the active healing ingredient in aloe vera. Isn't that awesome?
Who would ever know?
I love that. That's favorite. Why would you want that in your body every day? I mean, it's, people go, well, and I go, aloe's been around since before BC. You have these, if you do some historical research, you'll find out they used to cut off the aloe leaves and put them on, carts, and the horses would take them out to the Roman soldiers in the battlefield. They took what? They didn't take all the other stuff you see on the grocery store. They they took fresh aloe leaves to put on the wounds of the soldiers back in the, before Christ, BC. So, and it's nothing new here, just a great way of understanding it and really making sure you're getting the active ingredient from aloe vera.
I've always heard that that's one of the best things for your body forever.
Oh.
Aloe vera, always.
Well, those monosaccharides, they cover every cell in your human body, every cell. Hello. Maybe that's important. I don't know. Right? So,
Armine, have you been paying attention to the ingredients that you're taking too? Like, is there anything that's kind of stood out to you or?
Absolutely. I think like just on a daily basis, I look at any of the ingredients that I read, right? And like, yes, the rule of thumb is if I can't pronounce it, that probably should not go in my body. Like that's how I see it. So with, and what I loved about like working with Mannatech was, Merri-jo explained all the products in there. And yes, obviously there are big words that you can't pronounce, but those are the vitamins and the minerals that your body needs. But she gave me the exact like ingredients that were in the products, which I appreciated a lot. And just like personally, again, after 2 weeks being on Manna-C, my allergies basically were non-existent almost. And that for me was major. And yes, to what her husband went through, it's, stick with it. I've been on the products now for 5 months, but I'm not taking any of the over-counter medication. I don't have to text message my doctor and have him put a drug at CVS for me to pick up. I've noticed the results after 2 weeks. So then it's like, you know what? After 2 weeks, like I'm putting all natural ingredients in my body. And again, my energy levels have been amazing. And another thing I've noticed, which if you can see Merri-jo, obviously she doesn't have a lot of wrinkles or anything. Her skin is flawless pretty much. I kind of noticed the difference in my skin. And I had 2 people just randomly ask me what I was using. And I was like, I don't know. I started taking I was at the grocery store and I wasn't even wearing foundation. And someone was like, what foundation do you use? I was like, I don't have anything on. It's just blush that I've put on. And so I was literally talking to her. And what I love too is Mannatech now has the our facial products that we also came out with. So I started recently using that as well. And yes, when you read it, the ingredients, it's not like, an entire backside filled with ingredients you don't know. It's very simple. And I love the fact that I also visited Costa Rica and I'm like, oh, the Costa Rica aloe vera plants. I feel so exotic using the products already.
So cool.
And I would also, the one thing that I love about Mannatech, just like as a general form too, is, I've met so many incredible people working with the company and just being aware, like with Merri-jo and her group of people, we have like Zoom calls 3 days a week, and they're all incredible. You look at them, they're much older than me, but they are so motivated, so driven, and so knowledgeable that I'm just like, this is me on a weekly call. And I'm like, I feel just amazing at getting off those calls. But then also like with our CEO too, he's an incredible leader and is always up for like asking input of what the younger generation wants and needs. And it's, how many CEOs do you meet that are like willing to change their company and their viewpoints to cater to other generations too. So that's what I love about Mannatech, because it's not like, oh, they're targeting the older people 50 plus. No, they're targeting pretty much every single decade you can possibly think of.
Amazing. Yeah. That's why I love too, like just the both of you sharing the different age demographic experiences, because my audience is so vast. I think it's so inspiring, like super cool. Yeah. Were you going to say Merri-jo?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really cool. To me, I love mentorship. I love I can go out and impact people in their 60s and 70s any day of the week because that's my age range, right? But what I love so much is going after the younger generation, just like my kids, and my stepdaughters, and now I have grandkids that are graduating from from college. So, it's just like, I love having the impact on them, because if they just stick to education, they really don't get life, right? They don't get the idea of life. What is life? Well, how do I live my life to its fullest? Mm-hmm. And that's what I love to teach people. You want to live your best life. In fact, that's on my website, Live Your Best Life, how to live your best life. And people they go, well, I have this. And I go, no, you choose. And really building in people the idea that you're at choice. Every day you're at choice. And just really opening up your mind to start realizing don't let your past control your future. I don't have to let anything in my past control my future. Today's the first day of the rest of my life. What do I choose to do? What do I choose to be? And I just give people great concepts to be able to live life to its fullest every day. I mean, and people go, well, Merri-jo, how do you get so much done? You're running 3 different companies. You have your own personality foundation. You just came back from Brazil for 10 days on an evangelism trip, right? Yesterday. Okay. And he says, how do you do all the, and I just say, because here's a helpful hint for people. I wake up every morning and I say, I'm going to be my best today. So procrastination is not a word in my vocabulary. I don't even know what it is. Because when you vie to be your best every day, it's not pressure. It's just, you don't allow diversions to take you off on crazy paths. You don't put off till tomorrow because you don't feel like it, blah, 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 blah. Right? And once you get in the habits of living your best life every day and being your best, it just comes natural. And
may I add without prescription drugs in there too.
That's
and
great.
I think the fact that surprised me, Jacqueline, it said, I came across a quote where it said 65% of population takes at least 1 drug daily, and then 40% of older adults take 5 or more drugs. And then here is Merri-jo without any drugs, and she's not stopping anytime soon. So when I met her, I was like, okay, this is my future self. So I think the importance of mentorship and meeting the right person who meets your energy levels. I think it's how do you see your future self? Find someone and let them help you, guide you throughout the steps as well. I think that's an important step that a lot of people miss out on. And if I could speak to the 30-year-old, it's you know what, don't be afraid of aging, because here's my mentor who's 67 and a half, and she's nonstop. And I'm okay, this is my goal. This is where I need to be. And how do I get there? So I think that's the importance of mentorship and almost tag teaming. And then you develop great people. And I don't know, we're not stopping now. I don't know who else is going to cross my path through Merri-jo or what. And it's incredible. I think when you unleash this other person that you have, that's been basically you've been covered with everyone else's opinions about you, and then all of a sudden you're removing those, and then you're well, this is me, world, here it is.
Right.
So true. I was going to say, I feel the biggest takeaway from today too is when you fuel yourself on the inside, everything else is glowing, right? I feel it just blossoms, and it's so awesome. I feel I have to tell you, I've come across a lot of MLMs in my life, and I am so inspired by you guys, because I even messaged Armine about trying some products, because I really I love the greater good impact. And I really I love the 2 of your energy anyway, but I see the difference from even just meeting with you guys, briefly on it, I think it's so inspiring. So before we close out, can you guys share with us how they can follow you on social media or get in touch? And we're going to play a quick game time. So who wants to go first? Armine, you want to start with your social media first?
Sure. My website is balanceandimbalance.com. So please reach out to me there. I have a section for Mannatech, so it'll give you a nice little video of what the product is, and then contact me so I could give you more information on that. And then my Instagram is Balance and Imbalance.
Perfect. And what about you, Merri-jo?
Merri-jo Hillaker without the hyphen, Emmy, you have to spell it right. Everybody wants to spell it Mary, but you've already seen I'm a little unique. So my parents gave me the name Merrijo, Merri-jo Hillaker. And you can look up on Instagram, and I'm into reels really big now. Somebody started me off on that, and we had 10,000 people the other day. I'm going, come on, what's going on? But it's the love of making an impact, right? So I do all that stuff. I also have a website, and it's all about living your best life, right? How to live life large. That's basically my moniker, live life large. Is that great? So, and you can find me there. I do free consults with people. You can sign up for a free one-on-one consult for 30 minutes with Merri-jo, because it goes back to my number 1 core value: contribution, give back. Any way I can impact your life, that's what I'm up for, right?
I can tell. I can for sure tell. All right. Are we ready for game time? There's no fast way you have to answer. This is just fun. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
We'll start with Armine. What is Armine's favorite food?
Merri-jo has to answer, right?
No, Armine goes first, and then
Merri-jo. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll rotate.
I thought we were playing guess who kind of thing. My favorite food. Ooh, lentil soup.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah, I will make that any day, every day if I could.
I love it. And what's Merri-jo's favorite food?
Well, my favorite meal is salad. So I guess I'm looking at salad ingredients. I mean, if you always have to start with lettuce. So romaine lettuce is my favorite lettuce. So I'd say that, but you know, the other ingredients in there are equally important to me. It's the whole concept of a salad. I
So
love
what
it.
is the ideal Merri-jo salad? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, ideal Merri-jo salad. It's going to have, obviously, it's going to have romaine lettuce. It's going to have cucumbers, radishes, some carrots, and what else did I put in there? I love artichoke hearts. Ooh, so I like to chop those in there. I love the banana peppers in there too, a little different flavoring that goes on it. And then I put a little oil and vinegar on top. That's my dressing I use. I don't use anything from the grocery store shelf. I just use oil and vinegar.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start with Merri-jo now. Merri-jo, where is your favorite place you ever traveled and a bucket list place you've never been you want to go?
Favorite place I've ever traveled. Because I've been to so many places, it's hard. There's so many favorites to all of them, and they're different. You know, favorite is from what perspective, you know, what the results were there, or who the people I met, or is it just
your mind first? What came to
my
your
mind is just going, oh, I've got thousands, like for different reasons, but been all over Europe, you know, and loved every moment of those. But probably Australia. Yeah, I had a wonderful experiences in Australia, just getting to know the people and then going across to New Zealand. That was cool. That whole trip was just so awesome. It was so different. So I would say that would probably be one of my favorites. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And what about bucket list place you've never been you want to go?
Bucket place list, where would I want to go? I've never been to any, like Ukraine, that whole area, that whole region. And of course, with the highlights of what's going on there now, I don't want to visit right now. But I mean, I would love to go and see some of those, you know, that whole area and just travel, whether it's Turkey, Ukraine, you know, that whole area, because I've never been there, and I'd love to have that exposure. Yeah.
So cool. All right, Armine, where is your favorite place you've ever traveled and bucket list place you've never been you want to go?
Oh, okay. So I have two as far as my favorites. The first one's going to be Greece. My sister and I surprised my mom for her 60th birthday in Greece while she was there with my dad and her sister and my uncle. So that was like one of those epic trips of like family reunion. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other place would be Costa Rica, because like just visiting Costa Rica, it had multiple, like just seeing the beauty behind of it and the tropical lands and how much adventure is out there is actually pretty awesome. So I would say those two are my favorite trips. And Costa Rica was the first time like my boyfriend and I flew internationally. And so it was also like meaningful on that end.
For sure.
As far as my bucket list, I would say Armenia. My background's Armenian. I was born in Armenia, actually, and I haven't been. And so dating a non-Armenian, he's actually wanting to go explore too. So it's on both of our lists for us to actually go, and it'll be nice for him to get a little background history on my roots.
So cool. Love it. All right, guys, final question. Merri-jo, who is well, actually, no, we'll start with Armine because I was switching off. Armine, who is somebody you dead or alive that you would love to have lunch with?
Ooh, I'm gonna stick to Richard Branson. And I think reasons why, yeah, I want to go to Ireland. And I just love his success story. I think, like, you know, when I read the book, one of his books, it shows like he teaches you how to fail, basically, because he's failed and has had and it's okay, and he's one who has like developed his product for every age as well. And I think just like reading about his life, I could see like Mannatech in it a little bit too, because it's like, you know, me personally, yes, I've had failure, but like with Mannatech, it's like basically growing into different decades every single time and willing to change. And I love that.
Awesome. All right, Merri-jo, who is somebody dead or alive you would love to have lunch with?
Well, my head's just filled, but I'm going to come up with either Obama. I'll take the husband or wife, Barack or his wife, either one of them. I have so much admiration for who they are as people, their heart and passion for people, and the love they have for this nation. I think it would be just amazing to sit down with them at a meal and just pick their brains and just listen, ask questions and listen to what they have to say. I just
So
think,
cool.
again, tremendous admiration for both.
Well,
of
I
them.
think both the people you guys chose have made huge impacts on the world, So cool.
That's
Yeah,
so
so
you're
that's what we're
very-
trying to do. We're trying to impact on a global basis too, and leave
There you
this
go.
legacy behind for, like, the younger generations.
Yeah, I'm like very inspired today. I'm very inspired by the both of you. Thank you for this awesome episode. Everybody definitely check out Armine and Merri-jo on all social platforms, their websites. And thank you so much for tuning in to Becoming Next on Scene, and stay tuned for who's next on Scene.